Camila Santos had never planned on falling in love with someone from the other side of the world. At 24, she was focused on improving her English, maybe landing a better job at the small tourism agency in Florianopolis, where she worked as a receptionist. Her salary barely covered rent in the shared apartment she lived in with 2 roommates, but she was content. She had her family nearby, weekend barbecues at her parents' house, and the beach just 20 minutes away. The language exchange app was supposed to be a practical tool. She had downloaded HelloTalk on a Tuesday night in March, created a simple profile. Brazilian girl wanting to practice English and Spanish, can help with Portuguese. She uploaded a photo of herself at Praia Mole, her curly hair wild in the wind, a genuine smile on her sun-kissed face. She did not expect the message from South Korea. Hello. I am Min Ho. I saw you want to practice English. I want to practice Portuguese because I think Brazilian culture is very interesting. Can we exchange? His profile picture showed a young man with dark hair swept to the side, glasses perched on his nose, wearing a neat button-down shirt. He looked serious, almost formal, but there was something warm in his expression. His bio said he was 27, lived in Seoul, and worked as a financial analyst. Camila hesitated. Korean? She knew nothing about Korea except what she had seen in a few K-dramas her friend had forced her to watch. But his English was good, and she figured why not. It was just language practice. Hi, Minho. Sure, we can exchange. What do you want to learn first? That first conversation was polite, almost stiff. He asked about Brazilian food, she asked about Seoul. He sent voice messages in careful, measured English. She responded in Portuguese, slowly, clearly, like she was teaching a child. But something kept them talking. That night turned into the next night and the next. Within a week, they were messaging every day. Minho's questions became more personal, more curious. What is your favorite place in Brazil? What does your family do? What makes you laugh? Camila found herself staying up late, typing responses in English, Portuguese, and even attempting a few words in Korean that Minho taught her. Annyeonghaseyo. Gamsahamnida. He told her about his life in Seoul, the long hours at work, the pressure from his parents to get married soon, the exhaustion of living in one of the world's most competitive cities. She told him about her dreams of traveling, her close-knit family, her frustration with her dead-end job. They were so different, yet somehow the conversations flowed. 2 weeks in, Minho sent his first voice message in Portuguese. His accent was terrible, each syllable pronounced with painful precision, but he tried. Oi, Camila, como você está? She laughed out loud in her bedroom, covering her mouth so her roommates would not hear. She sent a voice message back. Your Portuguese is so cute. Keep practicing. Cute? He replied. I think in Korea men do not want to be cute. In Brazil, cute is good, she teased. That is when things shifted. The formality dissolved. The conversations became longer, deeper, more vulnerable. Minho admitted he felt suffocated by Korean expectations. The need to be perfect, to never show weakness, to always prioritize work and family over personal happiness. Camila shared her own frustrations, feeling stuck, watching her friends move abroad or climb corporate ladders while she felt invisible. 3 months after that first message, Minho asked if they could video call. Camila spent an hour getting ready, which she immediately felt stupid about. It was just a language exchange partner, right? But when his face appeared on her phone screen, animated, smiling, more handsome than his photos, her heart did something unexpected. It skipped. Wow, Minho said, his eyes widening. You are more beautiful than your pictures. Camila felt her cheeks burn. You are. You look good too. They talked for 3 hours that night. The video calls became routine. Every other day, then every day, they showed each other their worlds through phone screens. Minho walked her through Seoul's busy streets, the neon lights of Gangnam, the quiet beauty of traditional palaces. Camila showed him her neighborhood, the lagoon at sunset, her mother's kitchen where her family gathered every Sunday. Her mother noticed the change in Camila immediately. You are always on that phone, she said one Sunday afternoon, stirring feijoada on the stove. Who are you talking to so much? Just a friend, May. A language exchange friend. Her mother raised an eyebrow, unconvinced. A friend does not make you smile like that. Camilla's father was more direct. Is it a boy? Pai. Where is he from? South Korea. Her parents exchanged a look. Her father's expression shifted from curiosity to concern. Korea? Camilla, be careful. You know nothing about this person, these internet things. It is not like that. We are just friends. But it was not just friendship anymore, and Camilla knew it. 6 months after their first message, Min Ho said something that changed everything. Camilla, he began during a late-night call, his voice soft and serious. I think about you all the time. When I wake up, when I work, before I sleep. I have never felt this way about anyone. Camilla's chest tightened. She was lying in bed, her room dark except for the glow of her phone screen. Min Ho, I know it is crazy. We have never met. We live on opposite sides of the world. But I cannot stop thinking about a future with you. She closed her eyes, emotions warring inside her. Fear, hope, longing. I think about you too, all the time. Can we try? Really try? Try what? To be together. Not just friends. I want to be with you, Camilla. She wanted to say yes immediately, but reality crashed in. How would that even work? You are there. I am here. I do not know yet. But I know I do not want to lose you. That night, they decided to try. Long distance, undefined, messy, but they would try. Being in a relationship with Min Ho was both exhilarating and exhausting. The time difference alone was brutal. When Camilla woke up, Min Ho was finishing his workday. When she went to bed, he was just starting his morning. They stole moments between her work shifts and his lunch breaks, sending voice messages throughout the day like breadcrumbs of affection. Good morning, meu amor. Camilla would whisper into her phone at 6 in the morning, knowing Min Ho would hear it hours later in his Seoul apartment. I miss you, Min Ho would say in his messages, his Korean accent softening the Portuguese words she had taught him. I wish I could hold you. The longing was constant, a dull ache in her chest that never quite went away. She would catch herself daydreaming at work, imagining what it would be like to actually touch him, to be in the same room, to not have to perform their relationship through pixels and time zones. Her friends started to notice. You are always on your phone, her roommate, Juliana, said one Friday night when they were supposed to be going out. Come on, Cammy, live a little. He is not even here. I know, Camilla said, typing a quick message to Min Ho. I am coming, just give me a second. But the truth was, she did not want to go out. She did not want to be at the bar with loud music and drunk strangers when she could be talking to Min Ho. He understood her in ways no one else did. He listened. He cared. He made her feel seen. 8 months into their relationship, Min Ho mentioned his family for the first time in a serious way. My mother asked about you, he said during a video call. Camilla's heart jumped. Really? What did you tell her? Min Ho's expression was careful, measured. I told her I am seeing someone, a Brazilian woman. And what did she say? He paused, and in that pause, Camilla saw something flicker across his face. Discomfort, maybe worry. She was surprised. She asked a lot of questions. What you do for work, what your family is like, if you speak Korean. Do I need to speak Korean? Camilla asked, half joking, half anxious. No. But Camilla, you need to understand. In Korea, family is very important. My mother, she has certain expectations. What kind of expectations? For her son's future wife. Future wife. The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. They had talked about the future in abstract terms. Someday, maybe, what if, but never this concretely. Min Ho, we have never even met in person. I know. That is why I want to come visit you. Camilla's breath caught. Visit? Here? Brazil? Yes. I have been saving money. I can take vacation time in 3 months. I want to meet you, Camilla. I want to meet your family. I want to see if this is real." Tears pricked her eyes. "It is real. I know it is. Then let me come." 3 months felt like an eternity, but also terrifyingly soon. Camilla told her family, and the reactions were mixed. Her mother was cautiously optimistic. Her father was skeptical. Her younger brother thought it was the coolest thing ever. "You are dating a Korean guy? That is like a K-drama." When Min Ho finally stepped through the arrivals gate at Florianopolis Airport in October, Camilla almost did not recognize him. He looked smaller than he did on screen, more vulnerable, exhausted from the 30-hour journey. But when their eyes met, everything else fell away. She ran to him and he dropped his bag, catching her in his arms. He smelled like airplane and cologne, and he was shaking slightly. So was she. "You are here," she whispered against his shoulder. "You are really here." "I am here," he said, his voice thick with emotion. They stood there, holding each other, while travelers streamed past them, while airport announcements echoed overhead, while the world kept spinning. For that moment, nothing else mattered. The 2 weeks Min Ho spent in Brazil were a blur of happiness and culture shock. He met her family at a Sunday churrasco, where her father grilled meat and her mother fussed over him, loading his plate with rice, beans, farofa, and salad. Min Ho tried everything, even though Camilla could tell some of it was too salty, too spicy, too much. Her family loved him. He was polite, respectful, grateful. He thanked her parents profusely in careful Portuguese, bowed slightly when greeting her grandparents, and played soccer with her brother even though he was terrible at it. But Camilla noticed things. The way Min Ho stiffened when her uncle got drunk and loud. The way he looked uncomfortable when her cousin kissed her boyfriend in front of everyone. The way he seemed overwhelmed by the chaos, the noise, the casual affection that was so normal in her family. One night, lying in bed in her apartment, Min Ho was staying at a nearby hotel, respecting her parents' wishes. She asked him about it. "Is my family too much?" Min Ho turned to face her in the dark. "No. They are wonderful. It is very different from Korea. In my family, we are more reserved." "Reserved how?" "We do not show emotions as openly. Physical affection, even between family members, it is not common. And the way your family jokes, teases each other, speaks loudly. In Korea, that might be considered disrespectful." Camilla felt a pang of worry. "Do you think I am disrespectful?" No, Min Ho said quickly, pulling her closer. "You are perfect. I love how warm you are, how open. It is just different from what I know." Different. That word would come to define everything. On his last day, Min Ho asked the question that changed the trajectory of Camilla's life. They were at Praia Mole, watching the sunset, the same beach from Camilla's profile picture that had started everything. The sky was painted in oranges and pinks, the waves crashing rhythmically against the shore. "Come to Korea," Min Ho said suddenly. Camilla looked at him, her heart pounding. "What? Come to Korea, move there. Be with me." "Min Ho, I cannot just." "Why not? You said your job makes you unhappy. You said you want to travel, to see the world. Come to Seoul, learn Korean. We can be together for real, not just on screens. But my family, you can visit them. We will save money, come back to Brazil whenever we can. And what would I do in Korea? I do not speak the language. I do not have a job there. You can teach English or Portuguese. Foreigners do it all the time. I will help you. My family will help you." His family. The family he had described as reserved, traditional, with high expectations. Camilla's stomach churned with anxiety. "I do not know, Min Ho. It is a huge decision. I know. But Camilla." He took her hands, his eyes intense. "I love you. I want to marry you. I want to build a life with you. But we cannot do that with an ocean between us. Marry." The word knocked the breath out of her. You want to marry me?" "Yes." "Is that so crazy?" It was crazy. It was completely, utterly insane. They had known each other for just over a year, only 2 weeks of which had been in person. But looking at him, at the earnestness in his eyes, at the way he held her hands like she was something precious, Camilla felt herself falling. "Let me think about it," she said. But in her heart, she already knew the answer. The conversation with her parents was one of the hardest things Camilla had ever done. She sat them down one evening 2 weeks after Minho had returned to Korea, her hands trembling as she held a cup of coffee. Her mother noticed immediately. She always did. "O que foi, filha?" Camilla took a deep breath. "Minho asked me to move to Korea." The silence that followed was deafening. Her father's face went from confused to angry in seconds. Her mother just stared. "Absolutely not," her father said, his voice sharp. "You are not moving to the other side of the world for some man you barely know. I do know him, Pai. We have been talking for over a year. Talking on a phone is not the same as knowing someone. You spent 2 weeks with him. 2 weeks? And now you want to abandon your family? I am not abandoning anyone. That is exactly what you are doing." Her father stood up, pacing the small living room. "Camilla, think about this. You do not speak Korean. You do not know their culture. What will you do there? How will you survive?" Her mother spoke quietly, her eyes glistening. "Do you love him that much?" Camilla felt tears spill over. "Yes, May. I do. Love is not always enough, Mio Bem. What about family? What about us? You will be so far away. I will visit. We will video call all the time." "It is not the same," her mother said, her voice breaking. "You are my daughter. My baby. How can I just let you go to a place I have never been, with people I do not know?" The conversation spiraled. Her father brought up every worst-case scenario. What if Minho was not who he said he was? What if his family mistreated her? What if she got stuck there with no money, no support? Her mother cried silently, and that hurt more than any of her father's words. But Camilla's mind was made up. She was tired of feeling stuck, of watching life pass her by. Minho represented possibility, adventure, love. Maybe it was crazy, but was not that what life was about? Taking risks? "I am 24 years old," Camilla said finally, her voice steady despite her tears. "I am an adult. I appreciate your concern, but this is my decision. I am going to Korea." Her father looked at her like she had slapped him. "Then you are making a mistake, and when it falls apart, because it will, do not expect us to fix it for you. Gustavo," her mother snapped at him, then turned to Camilla. "Your father does not mean that." But the look in his eyes said he did. Over the next 3 months, Camilla prepared for her departure. She quit her job, sold most of her belongings, and applied for a tourist visa with Minho's help. He assured her that once she arrived, they could figure out a more permanent visa situation. Maybe through marriage, maybe through work. Marriage. They had talked about it more seriously now. Minho said his parents wanted to meet her first, that in Korean culture, family approval was crucial. He promised it would be fine, that they would love her. But Camilla heard the tension in his voice when he talked about it. She started learning Korean in earnest, studying Hangul characters until her eyes crossed, practicing pronunciation until her tongue ached. Minho was patient, teaching her essential phrases. "저는 Camille예요. 만나서 반갑습니다. 감사합니다. 사랑해요." Her friends threw her a goodbye party. Juliana hugged her tight, whispering, "You better call me every day. And if anything goes wrong, you come home immediately, okay?" "I will," Camilla promised, though she had no idea if she could keep it. Her last night in Brazil, she stayed at her parents' house. Her mother had made all of Camilla's favorite foods: feijoada, pão de queijo, brigadeiro. They ate mostly in silence, the weight of tomorrow hanging over them. Her father barely looked at her throughout dinner. But as Camilla was heading to her childhood bedroom for the last time, he stopped her in the hallway. "Camilla." She turned, expecting more anger. Instead, she saw tears in his eyes. "I just want you to be happy," he said, his voice rough. "That is all I have ever wanted, but I am scared for you." Camilla hugged him, and he held her tight, the way he used to when she was little. "I am scared too, Pai, but I have to try. If it does not work out, I know I will come home." You always have a home here? Always. The flight to Seoul was 30 hours of anxiety and anticipation. Camilla barely slept, her mind racing through scenarios. What if Minho's family hated her? What if she could not adjust? What if her father was right and this was all a terrible mistake? But when she finally emerged from Incheon Airport into the cold November air and saw Minho waiting for her with flowers and that shy, beautiful smile, all her doubts evaporated. He was not alone. Beside him stood an older couple, his parents. His mother was petite, elegant, wearing a beige coat and pearl earrings, her expression carefully neutral. His father was taller, stern-looking, his handshake firm when Minho introduced them. Aomeoni Abeoji, this is Camilla, Minho said in Korean, then switching to English. Camilla? My parents. Camilla bowed, the way Minho had taught her. 안녕하세요. 만나세요 반갑습니다. Minho's mother's eyebrows lifted slightly. Surprise, maybe approval. She said something in rapid Korean to Minho, who responded, then translated for Camilla. She says, your Korean pronunciation is quite good. It was a small compliment, but Camilla held on to it like a lifeline. The drive to Minho's apartment was quiet. His parents sat in the front speaking Korean in low voices. Minho held Camilla's hand in the back seat, squeezing reassuringly, but she could feel the tension in his grip. When they finally reached his apartment in Gangnam, a small but modern space on the 15th floor, Minho's parents did not stay long. His mother looked around the apartment with a critical eye, said something else in Korean, then left with a polite but cool goodbye. As soon as the door closed, Camilla collapsed onto Minho's couch. That was intense. Minho sat beside her, rubbing his face. I am sorry. My mother, she is just traditional. What did she say? In the car? And just now? Minho hesitated. She was asking questions. About your family, your education, what you plan to do here. And what did you say? That you are learning Korean, that you will find work teaching, that we are serious about our future. Did she seem okay with that? Another hesitation. She will need time to adjust. My mother, Camilla, you need to understand, she had a very specific idea of who I would marry. Someone Korean, probably someone she picked herself. The fact that you are foreign, that you are from Brazil, it is a lot for her. Camilla felt a cold knot form in her stomach. Does she not want us to be together? She wants me to be happy, but she also wants me to respect tradition, family, culture. It is complicated. Complicated. That word again. Minho. I gave up everything to be here. My job, my family, my country. I need to know this is going to work. He pulled her close, kissing her forehead. It will work. I promise. We just need to be patient. My parents will come around. They just need to see how much we love each other. Camilla wanted to believe him. She had to believe him, because there was no going back now. The first month in Seoul was a beautiful lie. Minho took time off work to help Camilla adjust. They explored the city together. The palaces, the markets, the endless restaurants serving food that was both delicious and sometimes overwhelming. He taught her how to navigate the subway, how to read Korean street signs, how to order food without pointing like a tourist. In those early weeks, Camilla fell in love with Seoul's energy, the way tradition and modernity coexisted, the efficiency of everything. She felt like she was living in a different world, and in many ways she was. But slowly, the cracks began to show. Minho returned to work, and suddenly Camilla was alone 12 hours a day in the apartment. She tried to fill her time productively, studying Korean, looking for teaching jobs online, exploring the neighborhood. But loneliness crept in like fog, dense and suffocating. She did not speak enough Korean to make friends. The few foreigners she met through expat groups were nice but transient, always leaving for their home countries after a year or two. She missed her family desperately, missed her mother's cooking, her brother's terrible jokes, even her father's overprotective lectures. Video calls with Brazil became her lifeline, but they also made everything worse. Seeing her family's faces, hearing the sounds of home in the background, only amplified how far away she was. Are you eating well? Her mother would ask, peering into the camera with concern. Yes, May. Minho cooks, and there is so much good food here. But are you happy? That question got harder to answer each time. Minho's parents began inviting them for dinner every Sunday. At first, Camilla was grateful for the inclusion, hopeful that it meant they were accepting her. But those dinners were torture. The first few times, Minho's mother, Mrs. Park, barely acknowledged Camilla. She would speak exclusively in Korean to Minho, leaving Camilla to sit in silence, smiling politely while understanding nothing. Minho would try to translate, but his mother would cut him off, insisting he did not need to. "Your mother does not like me," Camilla said one night after a particularly awkward dinner. "She does. She takes time to warm up to people. Minho, she will not even look at me. She pretends I do not exist. That is not true. She is just traditional. In Korea, mothers-in-law and daughters-in-law, it is always a complicated relationship. We are not even married yet." "Exactly. Once we are married, it will be different. She will have to accept you then." But Camilla was not sure she wanted to be accepted under those terms. As a daughter-in-law, a role with obligations and expectations she did not understand. Things escalated 3 months into her stay. Mrs. Park invited them to dinner on a random Wednesday, which was unusual. When they arrived, the small apartment was filled with the smell of homemade Korean food. Japchae, bulgogi, kimchi jjigae. The table was set beautifully, more formally than usual. "She is making an effort," Minho whispered as they removed their shoes at the entrance. "This is good." But it was not good. Halfway through the meal, Mrs. Park began speaking to Minho in rapid Korean. Camilla caught a few words: Brazil, family, marriage, but could not follow the conversation. Minho's face grew tense, his responses short and clipped. Finally, Camilla could not take it anymore. "What is she saying?" Minho did not answer immediately. His mother said something sharp, and Minho's father, who had been silent the entire time, cleared his throat uncomfortably. "Minho?" Camilla said, her voice firmer. "Tell me what she is saying." He set down his chopsticks, his jaw tight. "She is asking when we are getting married. She says we have been living together for 3 months, that it is inappropriate if we are not married soon. She is worried about what people will think." "What people?" "Extended family, neighbors, her church community." Mrs. Park spoke again, and this time, Camilla did not need a translation to understand the tone. Disapproving, critical, demanding. "What else?" Camilla pressed. Minho exhaled slowly. "She is saying that if we are going to get married, you need to adjust more. Learn Korean faster, understand Korean customs, she says." He paused, looking pained. "She says you need to try harder to fit in." The words hit Camilla like a slap. "I am trying. I study every day. I bow. I follow every rule you have taught me." "I know. Does she think I'm not trying hard enough?" Mrs. Park said something else, and Minho's face went pale. He responded in Korean, his voice rising slightly. The first time Camilla had ever heard him speak sharply to his mother. "We are leaving," Minho said in English, standing abruptly. "Minho?" his father started. "No, we are leaving. Come on, Camilla." In the taxi ride home, Camilla finally got the full translation. "She said that she is not sure you are the right fit for our family," Minho said quietly, staring out the window. "She said you are too different, too foreign. She is worried you will not respect our traditions, that you will not be a good Korean wife." "A good Korean wife," Camilla repeated, the words bitter on her tongue. "I am not Korean, Minho. I am never going to be Korean. I know that. I love that about you. But your mother does not." He did not deny it. That night they fought for the first time. Really fought. Camilla was tired of being patient, tired of feeling like she had to prove herself, tired of the constant cultural gymnastics. Minho was caught between his love for her and his loyalty to his family, unable or unwilling to fully stand up to his mother. "You just let her talk about me like that," Camilla yelled, tears streaming down her face. I did stand up for you. I told her she was wrong. But you will not set boundaries. You will not tell her to back off. She is my mother, Camilla. In Korea, you do not just tell your mother to back off. Then what am I supposed to do? Just accept being treated like I am not good enough? Minho looked exhausted, defeated. I do not know. I do not know how to fix this, and that was the problem. Neither of them knew. The next few months were a slow erosion of everything Camilla had hoped for. The loneliness intensified. The cultural barriers felt insurmountable. And Minho, despite his best intentions, seemed powerless to bridge the gap between his two worlds. Camilla found a part-time job teaching English online, which gave her some financial independence and purpose. But it was not enough to fill the void. She missed Brazil with a physical ache, missed the warmth, the casualness, the feeling of being understood without having to explain herself. Sunday dinners with Minho's parents became mandatory, not optional. Mrs. Park had specific expectations now that she had voiced her concerns. She expected Camilla to arrive early to help prepare food, even though Camilla did not know how to cook Korean dishes. She expected Camilla to serve Minho and his father before sitting down herself. She expected Camilla to clean up afterward while the men relaxed in the living room. These were not requests. They were tests. And Camilla was failing them, at least in Mrs. Park's eyes. One Sunday, Camilla tried to push back gently. When Mrs. Park gestured for her to serve the food, Camilla stayed seated, hoping Minho would step up. The silence that followed was excruciating. Mrs. Park's eyes narrowed. Minho's father shifted uncomfortably. And Minho looked at Camilla with pleading eyes and served the food himself. Later, in the car, he exploded. "Why do you have to make things difficult?" he said, his voice strained. "I am not making things difficult, I am standing up for myself." By disrespecting my mother, I was not disrespecting her. I was refusing to be treated like a servant. That is not what she was doing. Then what was she doing, Minho? Because from where I am sitting, she wants me to be some submissive daughter-in-law who does everything she says without question. That is how it works here. Daughters-in-law respect their mothers-in-law. It is part of our culture. I am not Korean. I did not sign up to become someone I am not. The fight ended with both of them in tears. No resolution, just more hurt layered on top of hurt. Camilla started researching plane tickets back to Brazil. Not because she wanted to leave Minho, but because she needed to know she had an escape route if things became unbearable. Her savings were dwindling. Her visa would expire in 3 months. And Minho still had not officially proposed, despite all the talk of marriage. She called her mother one night, sobbing so hard she could barely speak. "May, I think I made a mistake." Her mother's voice was gentle but firm. "Then come home, Fila. There is no shame in admitting something is not working. But I love him. I really love him. I know. But love is not always enough. Not when you are losing yourself." Those words haunted Camilla. Was she losing herself? She looked in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. Thinner, sadder, smaller somehow. The vibrant, confident girl who had arrived in Seoul 5 months ago was gone, replaced by someone anxious and uncertain. The breaking point came on a cold February evening. Minho came home from work to find Camilla packing her suitcase. He froze in the doorway. "What are you doing?" "I cannot do this anymore, Minho." "Cannot do what?" "This." She gestured around the apartment at the life they had tried to build. "Your mother hates me. I have no friends here. I am lonely all the time. I do not belong in this world. Camilla, please. I am going back to Brazil." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Minho's face crumpled, and for a moment he looked like a lost child. He crossed the room in 3 strides and grabbed her hands, stopping her from folding another shirt into the suitcase. "Do not leave. Please do not leave." "Give me one reason to stay," Camilla said, her voice breaking. "One reason that is not just I love you, because love is not fixing this." Minho was quiet for a long moment. When he finally spoke, his voice was raw, vulnerable in a way she had never heard before. You are right. Camilla looked up, stunned. You are right, he repeated. I have been a coward. I have let my mother treat you terribly because I was too afraid to stand up to her. I have asked you to sacrifice everything, your country, your family, your identity, without protecting you, without fighting for you. And I am so sorry. Tears streamed down his face, and Camilla realized she had never seen him cry before. Not when he left Brazil, not during their worst fights. In Korean culture, men did not cry. But here he was, breaking. I do not know how to fix this, he continued, his voice shaking. But I know I cannot lose you. You are the best thing that has ever happened to me. You make me want to be braver, more honest, more myself. Without you, I will just go back to being the person my parents want me to be. Safe, obedient, miserable Minho, give me a chance. One more chance. Let me talk to my parents. Really talk to them. Set boundaries. Make them understand that you are not going to change who you are, and that is exactly why I love you. Camilla wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him so badly. But belief required hope, and she was not sure she had any left. What if they do not accept it? What if your mother never accepts me? Then we will figure it out, together. Maybe we move somewhere else in Korea, away from them. Maybe we eventually move to Brazil. Maybe we find some middle ground. But we figure it out together. Not with me caught in the middle, trying to please everyone and pleasing no one. He cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs wiping away her tears. I am choosing you, Camilla. I am choosing us. I am just asking for a little more time to make things right. She closed her eyes, exhaustion washing over her. Every logical part of her brain screamed to leave, to go home where things were familiar and safe. But her heart, stubborn, hopeful, stupid, wanted to stay. 1 month, she said finally. You have 1 month to show me things can change. If they do not, I am buying a plane ticket home. 1 month, Minho agreed, pulling her into his arms. I will not waste it, I promise. True to his word, Minho requested a meeting with his parents the following weekend. Not a casual dinner, but a formal conversation. He told Camilla to come prepared to speak her mind, that this was the time to be honest, even if it was uncomfortable. They sat in his parents' living room on a Saturday afternoon, the atmosphere thick with tension. Mrs. Park served tea with tight, mechanical movements. Mr. Park sat in his usual chair, his expression unreadable. Minho started in Korean, but Camilla asked him to translate everything. She needed to understand every word. Mother, father, Minho began, his voice steady despite his nervousness. I asked for this meeting because we need to address the situation with Camilla. Things cannot continue the way they have been. Mrs. Park's expression hardened immediately. She said something sharp in Korean. Minho translated. She says she does not know what I am talking about, that she has been welcoming to Camilla. Camilla felt anger flare in her chest, but she forced herself to stay calm. This was Minho's moment to step up. That is not true, mother, Minho said in Korean, and Camilla heard the firmness in his voice. You have been critical of Camilla from the beginning. You have made her feel unwelcome in our family. You have set impossible standards for her to meet, knowing she is trying her best in a completely foreign culture. Mrs. Park's face flushed. She responded rapidly, gesturing sharply. Minho translated in real time. She says that as my mother, it is her duty to make sure I marry someone suitable, that she has every right to have standards for her future daughter-in-law, that in Korea this is normal, and if Camilla cannot handle it, maybe she is not strong enough for this family. Before Minho could respond, Camilla spoke up, her voice clear and firm. Tell your mother this, she said, looking directly at Mrs. Park. I have been respectful. I have learned your language. I have followed your customs even when they made no sense to me. I bow. I serve. I stay quiet when I want to scream. But respect goes both ways, and she has shown me none. Minho translated, his voice gaining strength as he spoke. Mrs. Park's eyes widened. She clearly was not used to being confronted. Camilla continued. I am not Korean, and I will never be Korean. But that does not make me unsuitable for your son. I love him. I support him. I moved across the world to be with him. What more proof do you need that I am committed to this relationship?" As Min-ho translated, Mr. Park shifted in his seat. He spoke for the first time, his voice low and measured. Min-ho translated, "My father says that my mother's concerns come from love. That in Korean culture, a mother worries about her son's future, about whether his wife will take care of him properly, whether she will respect the family." "I understand that," Camilla said, her tone softening slightly. "My mother worries about me too. She is terrified that I am here, so far from home, but she trusts me to make my own decisions. She trusts that I know what is best for my own life," Min-ho translated, then added his own words in Korean. Camilla could hear the emotion in his voice even without understanding every word. He was fighting for her. Finally, genuinely fighting for her. Mrs. Park was silent for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her voice was quieter, almost vulnerable. Min-ho translated, "She says that she is afraid that if I marry someone too different, I will forget my roots, that our children will not be raised with Korean values, that I will become a stranger to my own family." For the first time, Camilla saw past the criticism and coldness. She saw a mother who was scared of losing her son to a world she did not understand. It did not excuse the behavior, but it explained it. "I would never take Min-ho away from you," Camilla said gently. "I want him to stay connected to his culture, to his family. But I also need to be able to be myself. I cannot pretend to be someone I am not just to fit into a mold. That is not fair to me, and it is not fair to Min-ho." Min-ho translated, then added something else in Korean, something longer, more passionate. Mrs. Park's eyes glistened, and she looked away. The conversation continued for another hour. There were tears, raised voices, long silences. Mr. Park played mediator, his calm presence keeping things from spiraling. Slowly, painfully, boundaries were negotiated. Mrs. Park would stop making unsolicited comments about Camilla's Korean ability or how she dressed. She would include Camilla in conversations, not exclude her. She would stop treating Sunday dinners like tests. In return, Camilla would continue learning Korean and making an effort to understand Korean culture. She would be patient with Mrs. Park's adjustment period. She would show up to family events and participate, but on her own terms. It was not perfect. Mrs. Park did not suddenly become warm and welcoming. But for the first time, there was a mutual understanding. A fragile truce. As they left, Mr. Park pulled Min-ho aside. Camilla saw him place a hand on Min-ho's shoulder, speaking quietly. Later in the car, Min-ho told her what his father had said. "He told me that marriage is hard even when two people are from the same culture. But if I truly love you, I have to be willing to fight for you. Not just against my parents, but against all the obstacles we will face. He said he sees how happy I am with you, and that is what matters most." Camilla felt something break open in her chest. Relief, gratitude, hope. "Your father said that?" "Yes. He is more progressive than my mother. He always has been. He just does not speak up often." That night, for the first time in months, Camilla felt like she could breathe. The change was not immediate or dramatic, but it was real. Mrs. Park did not transform into a warm, affectionate mother-in-law, but she stopped being openly hostile. She started asking Camilla simple questions in slow Korean, about her day, about her work, about her family in Brazil. Small things, but they mattered. Camilla, for her part, tried to meet her halfway. She asked Mrs. Park to teach her how to make kimchi jjigae, Min-ho's favorite stew. The cooking lesson was awkward at first, filled with stilted conversation and long pauses. But as they worked side by side in the kitchen, something softened between them. "You really love my son," Mrs. Park said in broken English, her first attempt to communicate directly without Min-ho as translator. Camilla looked up from the vegetables she was chopping. "I do. Very much." Mrs. Park nodded slowly, stirring the pot. "He, different with you. More happy." It was not a grand declaration of acceptance, but it was something. Camilla felt tears prick her eyes. "Thank you for saying that," she said softly. Mrs. Park did not respond, but she placed a gentle hand on Camilla's shoulder for just a moment before returning to the stove. It was the first physical affection she had ever shown, and Camilla held onto it like a precious gift. Min-ho noticed the shift too. He came home from work one evening to find Camilla laughing at a Korean variety show, genuinely entertained rather than just studying the language. He found her texting with a group of foreign wives she had met through a community center, women from the Philippines, Vietnam, America, all navigating similar challenges. "You seem happier," he said, pulling her into his arms. "I am," Camilla admitted. "I am starting to feel less like a guest and more like I do not know someone who belongs here. A little bit anyway. You do belong here. With me." She kissed him, soft and sweet. "I am glad I stayed." "Me too." 2 months after the confrontation with his parents, Min-ho took Camilla to Namsan Tower at sunset. Seoul sprawled below them, millions of lights beginning to twinkle as darkness fell. They attached a lovelock to the fence, a cheesy tourist tradition that Camilla secretly loved. As they stood looking out over the city, Min-ho got down on one knee. Camilla's heart stopped. "Camilla Santos," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "You are the bravest person I know. You left everything familiar to be with me, and you have fought through every obstacle with grace and strength. I do not deserve you, but I promise to spend the rest of my life trying to." He pulled out a small velvet box, opening it to reveal a simple but beautiful gold ring with a small diamond. "Will you marry me?" Camilla was crying before she could answer. "Yes. Yes, of course, yes." He slipped the ring on her finger and stood, kissing her as fireworks erupted somewhere in the distance. Not for them, but it felt like they were. Strangers around them applauded, and Camilla laughed through her tears. Planning a wedding that honored both Korean and Brazilian traditions was its own adventure. Mrs. Park wanted a traditional Korean ceremony, the hanbok, the bowing, the formal rituals. Camilla's mother, who flew in 3 weeks before the wedding, wanted elements of Brazilian celebration: music, dancing, warmth. The compromise was 2 ceremonies. A small traditional Korean ceremony in the morning with Min-ho's family and close relatives, followed by a larger, more casual celebration in the evening that blended both cultures. Camilla wore a gorgeous hanbok for the morning ceremony, deep red and gold, incredibly beautiful but so different from the white dress she had always imagined. As she bowed formally to Min-ho's parents, accepting her role as their daughter-in-law, she felt the weight of centuries of tradition on her shoulders. But she also felt Min-ho's hand in hers, steady and sure. Mrs. Park cried during the ceremony, and afterward, she hugged Camilla. Really hugged her, not the stiff, formal embrace from before. "Welcome to family," she whispered in English. Camilla hugged her back, feeling something inside her finally settle. The evening celebration was everything Camilla had dreamed of: loud, joyful, chaotic. Her family had flown in from Brazil, and the cultural collision was beautiful. Her uncle taught Min-ho's cousins how to samba. Min-ho's friends tried Brazilian cachaça and declared it dangerously delicious. Someone played both K-pop and Brazilian funk, and somehow, impossibly, it worked. Camilla wore a white dress for the evening. Not a traditional wedding gown, but a flowing, simple dress that made her feel like herself. She danced with her father, who had tears in his eyes. "I was wrong," he said quietly, as they swayed to a slow song. "I was so scared of losing you that I could not see how happy he makes you. I am sorry, Filha. You did not lose me, Pai. You will never lose me. I know that now." Later, Camilla danced with Min-ho, the party swirling around them. "This is perfect," she said, her head on his shoulder. "It is," he agreed. 2 worlds, becoming one. It was not easy. No. But you know what? I think the hard things are what make it real. If it had been easy, maybe we would not appreciate it as much. Camilla pulled back to look at him. "Are you getting philosophical at our wedding?" He grinned. That shy, beautiful smile that had made her fall in love with him in the first place. "Maybe. Is that allowed? For you?" "Always." They kissed as their families cheered, And in that moment, Camilla felt completely, perfectly whole. Camilla stood in her small classroom at the international school watching her students, a mix of Korean and foreign children, practice Portuguese phrases. She had been teaching there for 6 months, and it was the first job she had truly loved in years. Her Korean still was not perfect, but it was functional. She could hold conversations, watch TV without subtitles most of the time, and navigate the city independently. She had even started a blog about being a Brazilian woman in Korea, which had unexpectedly gained a small following. Other foreign wives reached out to her, sharing their own stories, asking for advice. She was not alone anymore. That evening, she and Min-ho hosted dinner at their apartment, a slightly bigger place they had moved into after the wedding. Mrs. Park was there, as well as Mr. Park and Camilla's mother, who was visiting for a month. The two mothers sat at the kitchen table attempting to communicate through a mix of broken English, Korean, Portuguese, and lots of hand gestures. They were laughing about something, and Camilla's heart swelled watching them. "Never thought I would see this," Min-ho whispered, coming up behind her and wrapping his arms around her waist. "Me neither," Camilla admitted. "It is kind of amazing, is not it?" "You are amazing." She turned in his arms, kissing him softly. "We are amazing." Together. Later, as everyone sat around the table sharing food, Brazilian feijoada and Korean banchan side by side, Camilla looked around at the faces she loved. Her mother was teaching Mrs. Park how to say delicious in Portuguese. Mr. Park was showing Camilla's mother photos on his phone. Min-ho was serving everyone, making sure no one's glass was empty. It was not the life Camilla had imagined when she first downloaded that language app. It was harder, messier, more complicated. But it was also richer, deeper, more real. She had given up a lot to be here. Her country, her comfort, her certainty. But she had gained something too. She had discovered strength she did not know she had. She had learned that love is not just a feeling. It is a choice you make every single day, especially on the hard days. She had learned that home is not always a place. Sometimes home is a person. Sometimes it is the life you build together, brick by brick, compromise by compromise, until one day you look around and realize, this is exactly where I am supposed to be. As the evening wore on and the conversation flowed in 3 languages, Camilla felt Min-ho's hand find hers under the table. She squeezed back, and they shared a private smile. One that said everything they had been through, everything they had overcome, and everything they still had ahead. It had not been easy. It probably never would be completely easy. But sitting there, surrounded by the family they had fought so hard to unite, Camilla knew with absolute certainty it had been worth it. Every difficult moment, every tear, every fight. Worth it. Because love, real love, is not about finding someone perfect. It is about finding someone worth fighting for. And Min-ho was worth every battle. Camilla and Min-ho's journey shows us that intercultural relationships are not fairy tales. They are battlegrounds where love, culture, and identity collide. But they also prove that with courage, communication, and compromise, 2 worlds can become one. If you have ever been in a relationship with someone from a different culture, you know exactly what Camilla went through. The loneliness, the misunderstandings, the feeling of losing yourself while trying to fit into someone else's world. Maybe you faced a disapproving family, or struggled with language barriers, or felt caught between 2 cultures that seemed impossible to reconcile. Share your experience in the comments below. What was your biggest challenge? Did your partner's family accept you? How did you navigate the cultural differences? Your story might help someone else who is struggling with the same battles right now. And if Camilla's courage inspired you, or if this story made you think about love in a new way, hit that like button and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Maybe a friend in an intercultural relationship, or someone who is afraid to take that leap across oceans for love. There are so many more stories like this one waiting to be told, each with their own unique cultural clashes, their own heartbreaks, their own hard-won victories. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss the next journey. Because every story teaches us something new about love, sacrifice, and what it really means to build a life with someone from another world. What story should we explore next? Let me know in the comments.